Hi everyone, I'm John Evers. I'm the middle school principal at Mobile Christian School. I'd like to welcome you all to 6th grade at Mobile Christian. It's an exciting time for all of us, and I can't wait to see you all when we start school in the fall. A lot of you have seen me around the elementary building and coming around to your classrooms. You know who I am, but let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have 2 sons of my own that are both in college at this time. Very proud of them. My wife is also a former teacher, and I taught middle school for 13 years of my 30-year career. So I'm very involved with middle school and know what middle school is all about. So I hope you're as excited about it as I am about starting the school year. Middle schools will be a little bit different than 5th grade. We'll be in different buildings, of course. You've been in the elementary building, but primarily your classes will be in what we call the enrichment building, the middle school building, and you may have a class or two over what we call the high school building. But most of your classes will be, again, involved in the enrichment building and the middle school building. You'll have a locker in that middle school building you can go to. It'll have a combination lock on that. That'll be assigned to you when school starts. And you'll keep your textbooks in there during the school day, anything you want to lock up during the day. So it's going to look different in where your classes will be held every day. We'll start school each and every day. We'll be on what we call a block schedule. You'll go to your first block class. Then you'll have a break and a chapel time. After that, you'll have your second block class. Then you'll go to lunch. We have 4 lunch waves. You'll be assigned one of those lunch waves. And sometime before or after that lunch wave, you'll have your third block class. Then after that, you'll have your 4th block class. We're on an A and B schedule. So one day you'll have 4 classes. The next day you'll have 4 different classes. Then we'll repeat that rotation. But you'll be in each of those block classes for about an hour and a half each day. And that sounds like a long time, but it's going to go by pretty fast while you're in class. You'll be very busy, a lot of learning, a lot of exciting things going on as well. It'll be different also. You're probably used to having 1, 2, maybe 3 teachers at the most. You'll have 7 or 8 different teachers next year in 6th grade. So that'll be a change for you to get adjusted to them. But I think you'll like that experience, having a variety of teachers. You won't necessarily have the same people in class all day. You may have class with some students one block, then a different group of students the next block. So you're going to meet a lot of new people and make a lot of new friends during this time. Also, we will have textbooks next year. That'll be different for you. We'll have the paper textbooks. They won't be on your devices. And so you'll keep those in your locker during the day. We'll work out times for you to go to your lockers to pick up textbooks and keep your valuables secure in those areas. Something else that'll be different and new for you is taking semester exams. We'll take semester exams at the end of the first semester, and that'll be over your core courses. But a fun thing is the second semester you might be able to exempt or not have to take your second semester exams or come to school those days if you exempt those tests. What exemption means is you've got a high enough average that you don't have to take the test in that class. So that's something to work toward for second semester. Also, you'll dress out for PE every day. That means you'll put on a PE uniform when you go to PE. You'll have PE either on A day or B day, and you'll keep your clothes in the PE locker room, or you can keep them in your locker until you need them. Something that's going to change for you as well, you'll have more responsibility in what you do, but you'll have greater rewards. We'll give you freedom you have not had before. You'll change classes often on your own and walk from building to building or walk to the lunchroom by yourself. And so we'll give you more freedom, but with that freedom we want you to be more responsible, not take advantage of that freedom, and make sure that you're doing the things you need to do. Middle school is a great time. It's a fun time. For you, I know a lot of you may be a little nervous about that, about the transition. I think it's going to be a great experience for you. I look forward to meeting with you before school starts. I'll be up at the school during the summer. If you want to come by and say hey and get to know me a little bit, I'll be around and love to talk to you if you get the opportunity.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Todd. I will be your English teacher next year. I know this is not probably how you pictured your Bridging the Gap going, but I'm very thankful we have this technology to still get information to you and so that we can still get to know each other. So a quick little bit about me before we get started. I'm originally from a small town north of Mobile called Jackson, Alabama. I went to a K-12 school, very similar to Mobile Christian. I graduated high school with 23 people, so I'm very familiar with the tight-knit family that a school can be. I went to college at the University of South Alabama, go Jags. Next year will be my 3rd year of working at Mobile Christian School. And I'm very looking forward to having all of you in my class. Now, in my classroom, you're going to hear lots of stories about my dog, Sophie, and you'll probably see lots of pictures of her too. So let's go ahead and get started talking about English class. Now, what we will focus on with this presentation, we'll talk about what is English. We'll look at the curriculum, group work, projects. We're going to talk about technology, iPads, Google Classroom, and we're going to talk about some not so fun stuff, but some important stuff, and that is tardies and absences. So first things first, what is English class? In elementary school, you're probably used to having some of these subjects separated: language arts, reading, and spelling. But once you get to middle school and in 6th grade, all of those things are combined into one course. So you get one grade, one average for all of those 3 different subjects. We'll read literature, we'll read short stories, poems, plays, and even books, which are novels. We'll usually read these stories together in class. Sometimes you'll have assigned reading at home, but most of the time we do the reading together in class. You'll have vocabulary words for each story, you'll have questions to answer, and then we take quizzes or tests at the end of each story. So one of the ways I like to have students complete their work is sometimes in groups. So most of the times I will assign you a group and you have to work together with your team members or your group members to complete an assignment. You may rotate around the room to complete different activities, and sometimes we even study for tests in pairs or in groups. So I know that everybody's not the best test taker. Not everybody is amazing at writing. Not everybody is good at expressing themselves in that way. So sometimes I like to give students an opportunity to express their knowledge through projects. Like I said, not everybody is the best test taker, so sometimes you need another way to kind of express your knowledge. So one of those projects that we'll complete is called Analysis of a Character. We'll study some grammar through a preposition rabbit. We will complete a background research poster where you will research a novel before we read it, and then you will put it onto a poster. And then we'll complete a story wheel after we read some of our stories. Let's talk about technology, one of the things that you guys are super familiar with right now, okay? So we'll have a little bit of a transition next year into where your books will not be on the iPad anymore. You'll have a hardback book that you will have in class, but you still are required to bring a device every single day just in case we need it. We may not use it every day, but you still need to have it and make sure that it's charged. Unfortunately, just to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to, if you don't bring your iPad, sometimes you might get a 0 or you might get a write-up on RedWeb. So make sure that you bring it to class and make sure that you're only using your iPad for what your teacher has told you. That means you're not playing any games, okay? Let's talk about Google Classroom. Maybe you guys are using this now that you are having a lot of stuff online through digital learning. So you guys should know that Google Classroom is an online classroom. It's a platform where teachers can keep everything in one place. We post assignments, readings, web questions. We can even do tests on Google Classroom. It's an easy way to communicate with your teacher, and you can access all of your work at home. So yes, Google Classroom and things like this have been very important while we've been doing school online, but they'll be important even next year when we're back in the classroom, because if you miss a day of school, you'll have access to everything at home. Speaking of missing school, so if you were late to school, that is called being tardy. So some tardies are excused, no big deal, it's all right, they happen. Maybe you had to go to the doctor or the dentist, maybe you were stuck in traffic, things like that are excused. But some tardies aren't excused, and you don't want to get a bunch of these. So if you oversleep, you get a haircut in the morning, you're like, I need to go to Hardee's before I come to school. Those are not excused tardies, okay? And if you get too many of those, you can have a letter sent home to a parent. You can get detention, or you can even get so many that you get Saturday school. So make sure that you are getting to class on time. Now this includes first thing in the morning, but this also includes going from class to class. So don't be dilly-dallying in the lunchroom after you get done with lunch. You need to come straight back to class. You don't want to get a tardy. You don't want to be late for your teacher's class. Absences. So if you're planning to miss school, say for a family vacation, that has to be pre-approved through the principal. If you miss school for a doctor's appointment or because you were sick, you have to have a note sent to the office. Now that can either be through an email or it can be through a physical hard copy note. And if you don't do these things, your absence will be unexcused. Now, if your absence is unexcused, you can't make up the work that you missed that day, and that might mean that you end up getting zeros in the grade book. Now, if you forgot to bring your note from home, you could always bring it later, but sometimes it's just kind of a headache to try to catch up on all of that work. So you want to make sure that you get back to school as soon as possible after you've been sick or if you've been gone on vacation, and you want to make sure that you're keeping up with all of that work because we don't want you to get behind. So even though we had to talk about some not so fun stuff there at the end, 6th grade is super awesome. You're coming into middle school. You're going to start to have all kinds of fun new things that you get to experience. So you'll get to participate in homecoming, all right? There's clubs and organizations for you to join. You'll be able to go to break. You have a lot more freedom in that your teacher doesn't go to lunch with you. Your teacher doesn't go to break with you. You have a lot more freedom during those kind of times. We got field trips that we take. We will go to places where you'll learn about science. We'll go to places where you might even see a play. So lots of fun things to come in 6th grade. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you later in our Zoom meeting and looking forward to getting to know you next year. I'm so proud of what I've heard of your class so far and that you are keeping up with your assignments through this digital learning and through this craziness. I've seen pictures of some of you on Facebook during our Spirit Week. So I just want to say good job, guys. You guys are doing awesome with this transition, and I'm really looking forward to next year. Bye.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Shupeck, and this is our virtual version of Bridging the Gap this year, so I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about 6th grade history. In 6th grade history, we will use the Discovering Our Past book. This is, for those of you that have been at Mobile Christian, the same book that you used in 5th grade, only we'll be doing the last half of that book, so you may already be familiar with it. In history this year, we'll pick up right after the Civil War, about 1870. Hopefully you're getting up to the Civil War in 5th grade this year. And we'll pick up after that. We're going to talk about the industrial age, where lots of factories were built in the United States. We'll talk about the Panama Canal. We will talk about the Great Depression, World War I and World War II, and the Vietnam War. A lot of wars we talk about, but we talk about a lot of other things as well. In history, we focus on each chapter and the theme of each chapter. We'll read through the chapter together. We do some lessons together. We'll answer some questions, usually incorporate some short videos for us to watch so we can actually picture what happened during that time in history. And then for each chapter, we will do an outside activity. Possibly a scavenger hunt, an escape room, or some timelines where we might scan some QR codes. We'll usually do at least one of those projects for each chapter that we do in history. I hope you will enjoy it. It's my favorite subject. I hope it'll be your favorite subject. Talking about the most important subject to you probably, lunch. All students go to lunch during 3rd block. Depending on which teacher you're with that period will decide what time you go to lunch during 3rd block. But the important things for you to remember is that you'll need to order lunch during your 1st block class. And there's also an opportunity, just like when you're in elementary school, if you have a warm-up, we have a place for those warm-ups, usually by the office in whichever building that you're in, to place that warm-up. And then that way when you get to lunch, you don't have to wait to warm up your own lunch. They'll have it ready for you when you get there, just like they have while you've been in elementary school. But the important thing is to remember to order during that 1st block class. I also wanted to talk to you just a little bit about school uniforms. If you've been at Mobile Christian, you're accustomed to wearing a school uniform. It's a little bit different in middle school. But we wear uniforms every day except for chosen out of uniform days. The cost of that is $2, just like it has been. During the week, on Mondays, both girls and boys will wear a blazer to school. You wear your white shirt with that blazer and whatever uniform bottoms. For girls, it's a skirt, and for boys, it's the pants. And the boys wear their ties on Mondays. The other days of the week, the Tuesday through Friday uniform is still very similar, no blazer. You can wear the white or the blue shirts, and there are different types of shirts, the button-up shirts or the polo type shirts. There's also some dry fit options, but we wear white or blue shirts. We no longer wear the gray shirts that some do in elementary school. We don't wear those during middle school. Probably the biggest change for you is there are no shorts in middle school or high school, even on out of uniform days. Shorts are not permitted anymore. I always ask my previous sixth graders, what advice would they give you? What would they want to tell you about coming to sixth grade? And so a few things, words of advice from former sixth graders: to use a planner. That means write down your assignments. You're going to have a lot of teachers and a lot of things to remember when you get to middle school. So you want to write those things down. Check RenWeb. Your parents might have access to RenWeb. Ask them if you can have access to RenWeb too, so that you know when things are due. Many of my sixth graders wanted to remind you it's always nice to have a little extra money at school. Sometimes some things come up that you might want to buy, or some snack money. So it might be a good idea to have just a little bit of extra money in your pocket just in case. They wanted to emphasize the importance of doing your homework. Okay, when you have it, you want to do it to help keep your grade the best it can be. And most of them wanted to let you know that sixth grade is just like fifth grade, but more fun with a break. And they enjoy their break time during middle school. I look forward to getting to meet you all in person soon. And we're excited to have you in sixth grade next year. I hope you have a great summer, and we'll see you soon.
Hi, and welcome to Bridging the Gap. My name is Dr. Meryl McGowan, and I'm a middle school teacher here at Mobile Christian School. I teach math and science for sixth graders, and I also teach a skill development and a career class focusing on nature for my seventh graders. So today, what I would like to talk to you about are some general middle school issues that you'll be dealing with next year, such as surviving the hallways, using your locker, and then also we'll talk about some exciting things that we do in math and science. So, hallways, surviving the hallways. The hallway will go from being completely empty to completely full at the ring of a bell. So my advice to you is to know your schedule, know where your classes are, know how to get to your classes, and then just don't panic. Just get there. Maybe take time to practice at the beginning of the year before school starts exactly where your classes are. Lockers. First thing is, please use your lockers. You'll have a locker right outside your homeroom where you'll be able to put all of your materials. Use it. Make sure that you have your locker combination memorized. If you can't memorize it at first, then at least write it down in different places so that you can open it quickly. But don't panic. We're all here to help you, and you'll do just fine. All right, so here's some topics that we're going to be dealing with this next year in math and science. Math of 6 is so much fun to teach. Besides just doing like whole number operations, we do fractions and decimals, ratios and rates, all the really exciting math topics that deal with real life, like money and cooking and shopping. And so my approach to math is to not only do like class notes and worksheets that we can really practice our skills, but also some hands-on learning where the kids get fully immersed in their topic. In science, I teach earth science, which is to me the best kind of science to teach. We learn about God's creation. So if you step outside and you feel the wind on your face, or you see rain or clouds or beautiful flowers or trees, those are all God's creations. And so we talk about how the world was created and then what the wonderful things are inside of it. So let's talk about math. I did say that we do class notes and the kids learn how to discipline themselves as far as practicing problems, but we also have a lot of fun in math. One activity we do is we learn about ratios using Skittles. We also do a project called Fractions Feast, where we learn about fractions and how it relates to cooking. So we learn to manipulate fractions by multiplying them, dividing them, halving them, doubling them. And this is a great way for the kids to not only share some life skills, but also some important fraction skills. We also do a project called Pi Day. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it this year, but we are going to be definitely doing it next year. So we learn about what's so special about 3.14. We bring in lots of yummy food where we talk about the circumference of circles and the circumference of pizzas and pies and donuts. And the kids do some really fun learning that way. We also do some exciting things in science. One of the first things that we do, we learn about the scientific method by studying and learning about Band-Aids. And so here's a picture of my kids learning about the scientific method and forming a hypothesis in their group. For this lab, we determined which Band-Aid stuck the longest. And so there was a lot of procedures to be followed, a lot of pictures to be taken, of course. We followed the procedures. We took careful notes and examined our Band-Aids. And then at the end, we presented our findings to the group, to our class, as to which Band-Aid stuck to the skin the longest and whether our hypotheses were correct or not. Another fun science activity we do is when we study the solar system. I have the kids design an alien for either a planet, a dwarf planet, an asteroid, something that is out there in outer space. And so the kids are able to create an object, an alien based on the planet's atmosphere or temperature. And so it's just a really hands-on project that the kids can learn about aliens and how to design it. So they're super creative. Another project that we do in science is we learn about minerals. And so we do a Mighty Minerals project. And so this project is so much fun. The kids can get so creative, but they choose their favorite mineral. They learn about it, the uses, how it was formed, where can it be found. And then they design a superhero after that mineral based on the super things that mineral can do. We've also been known to explode volcanoes as we study them hands-on. So those are some pictures of our science things that we have done in class. I just want to close out by saying I have a great group of sixth graders this year, and every year I'm just blown away by their creativity. I cannot wait to see y'all in my classroom and to teach you science and learn about God's creation. I found this really cute picture when y'all were in middle school. It's not a great picture, but I just want to say that I'm praying for y'all. I'm praying that as you get ready for middle school, that you won't be anxious, that you know that you were loved already, that we were anxiously awaiting for you to come to sixth grade. And so that was just some information about my math and science class in particular. If you have any other questions, you can please feel free to email me and I can answer some of those. So God bless. Have a great day. Goodbye.